I distinctly remember the initial annoyance when I saw the Grab driver smoking right outside my door. He was wearing sportswear instead of a neat uniform, a cigarette dangling from his lips, and he flinched awkwardly when he saw me. It all created a terrible first impression. "Oh, damn. Sorry." The phrase slipped out, unable to hide his surprise. I tried to keep a cold expression. "You can finish your cigarette. I'm not in a hurry." The truth was, I was in a hurry, but I didn't want to show overt displeasure to a person working. The first surprise came when he put out the cigarette on the ground. I thought, well, here's another litterer. But he quickly picked up the butt, put it into a small plastic bag, and slipped it into his pocket. That small act made me pause. The unexpected decency slightly alleviated my annoyance, but it wasn't enough to erase the frustration when he started driving. He was unfamiliar with the routes. I had to guide him constantly throughout the ride, and the tension kept building. When I got off, the guilt was evident on his tanned, sweaty face. "Sorry, please don't give me 1 star. I'm new, but I'll try to remember the roads." I just nodded silently and walked away. He wasn't professional, but his honesty and the simple act of picking up the cigarette butt made me reconsider. Finally, driven by an impulse I couldn't explain, I still gave him 5 stars, a rating beyond the standard of his service, but fitting his standard as a person. Fate seemed to be playing a joke, as that afternoon I booked the same guy again. This time, it was raining. As soon as I opened the app, he was already holding a raincoat, flashing a bright, warm, and charming smile that washed away the dampness of the afternoon rain. "Hop on." On the way, he started the conversation. "Thank you for the 5 stars. I was quite surprised. Usually, customers give 1 star or no rating at all." Intrigued, I asked why, and his answer completely changed my perspective. "I used to take Grab to work too," he laughed. "I was in the events industry. This year was tough. I got laid off, so I'm driving Grab to make ends meet." I fell silent. Behind the simple uniform was a story of hard work. In that moment, I decided I had to hold on to this decent man. "Let's save each other's number. Call me when you need a ride." The relationship shifted from a digital transaction to a personal connection, opening an entirely new chapter in both our lives. Since that bold suggestion, my life gained a new convenience, a dedicated and trustworthy personal rider. Sharp at 9 a.m., I'd see him waiting outside my door. By 6 p.m., he'd arrive at my company. When I went out with friends, he was often the one driving me. These daily rides became the time for us to share everything. "What kind of job do you do that requires so much travel?" he asked. And I replied that I was a magazine editor, often needing to interview people. He burst out laughing. "Is that so? Carrying you is enough to cover my daily food expenses." We laughed loudly. The bond grew not from a passionate romance, but from mutual respect and understanding about work, about the struggles of earning a living. As time went on, the strenuous work of driving a motorcycle taxi visibly wore him down. His skin was darkened by the sun and wind. He said driving was much more exhausting than working in events, but he had to keep going. I often asked if he had submitted job applications, and he sighed, "Yes, but no one's calling." His self-confidence was shaken by economic hardship. We continued our routine, becoming so inseparable that friends began to speculate that I was dating a Grab driver. When I dressed up elegantly to meet clients, the disparity between him and me became increasingly noticeable. Him in his faded Grab uniform, me looking splendid in my business attire. His self-consciousness was evident in his hesitant glances. On one occasion, he cautiously asked me, his eyes fixed on the dress I was wearing, "Are you embarrassed?" I understood he was referring to the difference in appearance and profession. I laughed heartily, dispelling the weight of the question. I'd be embarrassed if you were a thief. A motorbike taxi driver? Never." He didn't reply, remaining silent, but I knew the phrase had touched his wounded pride. He was still the decent, hard-working man I trusted. It was precisely when the relationship seemed stalled by the barrier of status that opportunity arrived. During an important meeting with a client, they incidentally mentioned that their company needed someone with experience in the events industry. My heart pounded. This was a golden chance for him. I quickly spoke up, my voice full of resolve. "I know someone. He would definitely be perfect for that position." "Which company does he work for?" the client asked. I took a deep breath. This was the decisive moment. I had to break the stereotype right there. I answered the client's question with unbelievable composure, yet inside was an iron determination. "He is currently driving Grab," I replied matter-of-factly, not avoiding the truth. After a brief, stunned silence from the partner, I added, "But please, interview this person. I am certain he will be a good fit. He has experience and is making an honest effort during a difficult time." This recommendation was not just an act of help. It was a gamble on his character and capability, an act that defied standard hiring procedures. I completely believed in his potential. And I was right. He got the job after 2 rigorous interview rounds. The next morning, he came to pick me up for work, as usual. I stood at my door and was completely taken aback by the man standing before me. No longer the faded Grab uniform. His hair was neatly slicked back. He wore a light-colored mandarin collar shirt, black trousers, and shiny dress shoes. The smart, professional appearance of an events worker had returned, causing me to freeze. "What's wrong?" he asked, his familiar bright smile now filled with a new self-assurance. I laughed loudly, masking my shock. "I'm just used to seeing you in your Grab uniform." This change was not just about clothes. It was the return of a person, the rebirth of a career. From that moment, the affection between us blossomed naturally, no longer hindered by the barrier of status. He still drove me to work in the mornings, a beautiful habit that we kept. In the evenings, because his new job was demanding and I often finished late, I took a taxi home. Occasionally, we went out for dinner together, no longer the rushed meals by the roadside. The relationship shifted from friendship, from helper and helped, into love. When he received his first month's salary, he invited me to a luxury sushi restaurant. Amidst the cozy ambiance, he looked at me, a mischievous sparkle in his eyes reflecting his gratitude. "Thank you for getting me this job." After almost half a year in the new role, he was completely settled. The old motorcycle, his companion through the rainy and sunny days of driving Grab, was carefully restored and sent back to his parents in the countryside. For himself, he bought the motorcycle he had always dreamed of. The day he drove the new bike to pick me up at the company, he was wearing a blazer over his shirt, looking incredibly dashing. That sleek, modern motorcycle now perfectly matched my elegant party dresses. I burst into laughter, unable to hide my pride. "You look sharp." He teased back, his eyes full of joy. "Now I match the magazine editor, don't I?" That witty exchange completely eradicated his old insecurities, eliminating the distance that had once been the biggest obstacle. We went out to our favorite Chinese restaurant. During the meal, he brought up the old story, the one he was still curious about. "My boss told me you introduced me as a Grab driver who is very much worth interviewing." I was quite surprised. I smiled coyly, knowing it was a story he would never forget. "Oh, your CV and abilities are what mattered," I replied. But then I voiced what I had thought all along, the conviction that had shaped my faith in him. But I believe that any man willing to do honest work to earn money during hard times is capable. That was the final affirmation, a tribute not just to him, but to all those striving to overcome adversity. He leaned back in his chair, laughing heartily. It was a laugh of gratitude, success, and fulfillment. He reached out and tightly clasped my hand. His hand still bore the marks of the sun and wind, his skin still tanned, but in that moment I found it surprisingly steadfast. It was not just the hand of a lover, but the hand of a man who had strived and conquered himself. That hand which had driven me through so many roads was now holding the future of us both. Our love story, which began with a 5-star ride and a retrieved cigarette butt, had blossomed from kindness and belief. And guess what? That young man was me many years ago when my startup failed in Singapore. I hope that good things and peace will come to all of you who have finished listening to my story. Love you.